Welcome everyone to this session. It is our Pathways 101 session. Donc, bienvenue tout le monde. C'est pour la session de Pathways, une introduction aux changements qui ont été faits en octobre. So we'll talk a little bit about the changes in particular that have been made in October. My name is Rebecca MacMillan. I'm a member of 3 clubs here in District 61, and I'm happy to be the Pathways advisor for this year. Donc, mon nom, c'est Rebecca MacMillan. Je suis membre de 3 clubs ici au District 61 et votre guide de Pathways pour cette année. Alors, aujourd'hui, on va faire une introduction à Pathways. So for the agenda, we'll talk a little bit about the history of Pathways, donc l'historique des parcours Pathways, the enhancements that happened in October on the 22nd, donc les améliorations aux Pathways, aux parcours Pathways, how to log your meeting roles, so les enregistrements des rôles lors de votre réunion. We'll talk about level 1 to 5 requirements. So as you know, or may not know, you'll find out tonight that there are some additional requirements in each of the levels. Donc, les exigences au niveau 1 à 5. I'll have a brief overview on mentoring because that is one of the additional pieces in the new enhancements on here. And I'll share with you what that means. Donc, on va faire un avis au mentorat tel que c'est appliqué avec les niveaux Pathways. Your successful club series, your better speaker series, and your leadership excellence series, we'll talk a little bit about the requirements there. Donc, les séries de clubs performants, devenir un meilleur orateur et l'excellence en leadership. And I'll leave you with some useful resources. Donc, je vais vous laisser avec des ressources utiles. Et comme j'ai dit, il y aura la chance de demander des questions aussi. Donc, la première chose que je voulais vous parler, c'est l'histoire de Pathways, so the history of Pathways. In 1924, as you know, we celebrated our 100th not long ago. That is when Toastmasters was created. Donc, en 1924, Toastmasters a été créé. Et c'est en 1928 que la création des premiers manuels pour les clubs ont été créés. So the first manuals for the clubs were created back in 1928. My, how we have come a long way. Then we get to 1942, where we have enhancements to those, where there's 12 project manuals, basic training was introduced. Donc, en 1942, la formation de base a été présentée avec 12 manuels ou 12 projets à ce temps-là. Then we move into between 1950 and 1979, beyond basic training, and that's really where it becomes the advanced communication and leadership programs are introduced within that period. Donc, entre 1950 et 1979, au-delà de la formation de base a été introduit avec les programmes avancés de communication et de leadership. Ils ont été introduits en ce temps-là. Ensuite, on a entre 1980 et 1993, on a lancé une série de cassettes de vidéos ainsi que la série Le Club Performant. So between 1980 and 1993, we then introduced some cassette models, some video series, and then the Successful Club series was introduced during that period. Moving on to 1997, the 2-track system was introduced, where we really focused not just on communication skills, but the leadership skills as well. Donc, en 1997, on a introduit un système à 2 pistes, non seulement la communication, mais aussi les séries leadership. Ensuite, en 2006, le manuel Leadership compétent a été publié avec 10 projets. So in 2006, the Competent Leadership Manual with the 10 projects was introduced. And that's one of the things that oftentimes folks that have been here a long time, that's where some of these changes have been introduced based on feedback from that. Donc, certains des changements ont été pris par la rétroaction de Competent Leadership. Ensuite, en 2017, le lancement de l'expérience apprentissage Pathways. So in 2017, Pathways launched, but it was simultaneous with the other program because it was going through some changes and some enhancements. En 2020, c'est à ce temps-là que Pathways est devenu le seul programme de Toastmasters pour le programme éducatif. So in 2020, that's when Pathways became the only education program for Toastmasters. Now, I'm going to stop sharing here for a second because I do want to show you something that will be useful for Pathways or really for any sort of questions that you may have within the club. Donc, je vais vous montrer quelque chose qui va vous aider si vous avez des questions, soit sur Pathways ou autre chose pour votre club, votre région, la district. So when you log into Toastmasters, at the bottom of every page, you'll see this section FAQ. Donc, à la bas de chaque page, il y a une petite section ici, FAQ. And this is really where you can get all of your key questions answered. Donc, il y a un place pour membre, club, district ou région. So here's where you'll see all of the enhancements and questions that you may have about Pathways. Donc, vous pouvez vérifier ici si vous avez soit des questions de Pathways ou autre chose. Donc, vous verrez ici what's changing in Pathways with the 2025 October enhancements. Donc, vous verrez ici qu'est-ce qui change ou qu'est-ce qui va être amélioré avec les changements d'octobre 2025. On ne va pas vérifier, on va pas aller sur toutes les questions ici, mais je voulais vous montrer ceci. So we won't go through all the questions. They'll be in the slides, but I did want to show you that FAQ section because it is really useful when you're looking for something. And it's a great place to bookmark or to show your members. Donc, c'est vraiment, je vous encourage de montrer vos membres aussi parce que la plupart des questions, soit sur Pathways, au sujet des concours ou autre chose, peuvent être trouvées ici. On va vérifier les lancements ou les améliorations de Pathways qui ont été changés le 22 octobre. Laisse-moi juste vérifier. Est-ce qu'on aura accès à l'enregistrement? Oui, vous aurez accès après. So we'll take a look at the enhancements for Pathways in here. Donc, il y a eu des changements de 11 parcours à 6 parcours. So as you may recall, we reduced to 6 paths on there. And here are the paths. The main reason for that was based on the actual competencies, based on feedback. These really were the 6 paths that were the key paths for folks. Donc, les changements à 6 parcours étaient vraiment basés sur la rétroaction des membres, les compétences que chacun de ces parcours vont vous donner dans vos parcours de Pathways. Then we have the addition of the meeting roles, so I'll show you that momentarily. Donc, les ajouts des rôles de réunion. One of the things that's been found, and this was a big feedback from the previous model, was I'm not getting credit for other roles that I'm doing in here. So how do I get credit for that? Donc, il y avait plusieurs questions des membres qui ne, comment est-ce qu'on dit, qui n'ont pas eu crédit pour les rôles de réunion. Donc, ici, ça va vous donner crédit, ça va vous donner d'autres expériences au-delà de Pathways. So it'll give you additional experience above and beyond just Pathways. Et finalement, il y a l'introduction aux séries. Donc, le club performant, devenir un meilleur orateur et l'excellence en leadership. So there's the additions as well to the Better Speaker series, the Club Success series, and the Leadership Excellence series when you get into 3, 4, and 5. And the main reason for that is being a healthy club or a strong club really does need more than just people that are giving speeches on there. So the spirit of this is to really help enhance the member experience when it comes to the club, the leadership, and the communication. Donc, l'introduction aux séries, ça va vous aider avec votre club pour le leadership, pour aussi être un meilleur orateur et pour aider la club lorsque ça vient aux performances. When we're looking at logging meeting roles, and I'll show you how to do this in the Toastmasters.org site after as well, there's a few different ways that you can do this. So in the Basecamp profile, there's a way to log those in there. Donc, vous pouvez enregistrer les rôles de réunion dans votre profil de Basecamp. Je vais vous montrer comment le faire bientôt. In your paths and learning, so outside of your profile, when you're actually in your path, there's a way to actually log them in there, and those are the ones that are specific for each path. Donc, la deuxième façon, c'est lorsque vous êtes en Pathways et votre parcours, à chaque niveau, il y a les rôles qui ont été attribués à ce niveau. Alors, je vais vous montrer comment le faire là. And then certainly Easy Speak or Free Toast Host, if your members use that. Donc Easy Speak ou Free Toast Host, ou si vous avez un autre système, soit sur Excel ou autre chose. So if you have another tracking system in Excel, that's also a possibility. My recommendation, though, would be to stick within Pathways because then it's all together. Donc, mon recommandation, c'est de le faire en Pathways pour que c'est là avec votre parcours direct. When we look at level 1, and we'll go through this when we do the demo momentarily, you'll see for level 1, on top of your speaker, so you've got your speaker piece in there and your evaluator. There's also the requirement to participate in a table topic session and one additional role, which could be timer, grammarian / R counter. Donc, pour votre niveau 1, c'est vraiment maîtriser les principes fondamentaux avec votre orateur-oratrice, votre évaluation, participer au sujet improvisé et aussi compléter un rôle supplémentaire lorsque soit chronométreur, chronométrice ou grammairien. Now, when you're looking at this, you will have the opportunity to actually log each of these. If you were a new member before you got a path, and they did a table topics, which often happens, once they actually become a member, they can leverage that as well. Donc, si vous avez un membre ou quelqu'un qui visite votre club, qui n'est pas un membre encore, qui ont participé au sujet improvisé, ils peuvent encore utiliser cet rôle lorsqu'il devient un membre aussi. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions présentement? Does anybody have any questions on what we've covered so far?
I do.
Okay, oui.
When we enter a specific level, Okay, so they ask you for the different roles you have done, but they don't ask any details when and where you did that role.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. And then on the other platform, we enter our role and dates, but they don't link it with our specific pathway.
Okay, so just to clarify, so what you're saying is when we're asked to enter the roles under your level, it doesn't ask for dates or anything on that. Is that what you're saying?
They're not asking for anything. You just
Okay.
need to click on the box and that's all.
Okay, so I'll show you someplace else where you can actually log and it will show you. And then when you said oh, sorry, go ahead.
I agree, but on the other platform that we put the details, they don't link it to a specific pathway or level.
Right. And when you say the other platforms, are you talking about in Basecamp or are you talking about Free
We're
Toast
talking about
Hosts or?
Basecamp when
Okay.
we enter our different roles.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And we have provided that feedback on there. The main reason for that is it is more of a placeholder for, I'm going to say, extra roles that you haven't yet attributed um, to an actual path that you can then pull from after. But I agree, it'd be great to be able to have a way to link that too. Okay. Monique.
I'm glad you brought this up. We use Free Toast Host, and that's how we track who's doing what role for all of our meetings. And all of those roles are historically there. So here's what I want to know. Can I go to my members and say, here are all your roles, and you could go back as far as the system will let you. So if you've done, like this got introduced in October, but our year started, quote, in September, but we may have done those roles during, the 2025, 2026 year. So can we not get acknowledgement for that, especially for clubs that only meet twice a month?
Yeah, great question.
Because that's my plan, because I'm not, the way I see it, and this is what you can put it to Toastmasters International. We've been doing our jobs using Free Toast Host. It's not our issue that it doesn't align with Pathways, but if you trust the Free Toast Host, you should trust the club and the VP of Education. And if I say, go into your Pathways and you did all these roles, go in, click, 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 and then we're done, right? Because that's what I want to do, because I don't think we should have to force people. I mean, we do the roles over and over again, but if you're new and you've never been a Toastmaster and you do Toastmaster and all of a sudden it's like, well, how come, so that's what my plan is. And I don't think that's breaking the law, but that's my plan. I'm gonna push the envelope on that, because they need to give people credit for that. So
that's perfect. Thank you for that. Donc, la question était, s'il y a des membres qui ont accompli des rôles avant le changement de Pathways et qui ont encore ou qui veulent prendre crédit, est-ce qu'on peut le faire? And the short answer is yes. The spirit of this is not to punish people. So certainly within reason. So, what you're highlighting is within the same Toastmasters year. Yes, absolutely. Donc, si vos membres ont complété ces rôles durant la même année, comme d'ici juillet jusqu'à octobre, certainement vous pouvez l'utiliser vers vos parcours. So it would just be a matter of, I know another member was talking about they had pulled all of their information, whether it be out of Free Toast Host or a spreadsheet, and transitioned it over. And yes, you can definitely do that. Great question. OK. Donc, lorsqu'on vérifie ou on voit au niveau 2, c'est vraiment de découvrir votre style. So when you get to level 2, you're building on your competencies and you're really learning more about your style. So, of course, you've got the speaker again and the evaluator. Donc, vous avez l'orateur, oratrice, l'évaluateur, évaluatrice. Animer la séance d'improvisation lors d'une réunion. Donc, c'est pas seulement participer. Là, vous allez l'animer. So now you move from participating in table topics to you're serving as the table topics master for a meeting. So you're continuing to build up. Un autre rôle, contribuer en tant que grammairien, grammairienne. So you've got the grammarian again. And then one additional role, donc un autre rôle supplémentaire. As we get into level 3, now it's really about showing your leadership and how you handle challenges. Donc, au niveau 3, c'est vraiment démontrer votre leadership et relever de nouveaux défis. And this is where our additional successful series start to come in. Donc, les autres animations du club performant ou autre chose sont introduits au niveau 3, 4 et 5. Donc, vous aurez encore orateur, évaluateur, un autre animateur, mais celui-ci, c'est un Toastmaster. Un autre rôle, soit compléter un rôle, animer la séance d'improvisation ou menteur. On va vous donner une explication de cela. Et livrer un projet du club performant. So here you're really building on your speaking skills. You're learning new challenges. At this point in level 3, you'd be taking on a Toastmaster role. You'd be taking on one additional role as well, whether it be Table Topics Master or Introduction to Mentor. And then the Better Speaker series when it comes to the successful clubs. Now, I'll ask for someone to either come off mute or in the chat and tell me if you know what an introductory mentor is. Donc, si vous avez, je demande qui c'est quoi un mentor, une introduction au mentorat?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I have looked at the mentorship program within Pathways, and I found out that it's only available. There are several documents that, as a mentor, you have access to share with your protege. And one is to schedule mentoring sessions. Another is a form asking your protege to identify their short, long-term, and medium goals.
Yeah.
And then there's an evaluation of the relationship that you have with your mentor. And when I found that, because I'm past level 3, I realized that the level 1 and level 2 members had no access to it because they hadn't completed level 1 and level 2.
Right.
And I made that accessible to our members, because if you have a level 2 member who's really keen in mentoring a brand new member to Toastmasters, they have recent experience as opposed to a level 5 person. So I made it available to them. Even though they can't track it, they can complete it. And then when the time comes, they're into their level 3, then I say, go for it. But I find the restriction that Toastmasters International put in there wasn't really thought out, because it doesn't make sense to me. So again, I broke the rule, but that's how I found out about the forms, and they're really good. I use it for my new members and my existing members, and have a look at that, because it keeps you honest, and it's a project as well, that you don't have to do it, but it's a project that gets you to evaluate your skills and all that. So that's I know I talk too much, but that I discovered
You're
that
passionate, Monique. I love it.
I discovered that in September, October, and it was like, holy crap, like that's like hiding the lottery ticket. Level 1 and level 2 people have skills to mentor. So,
well, I am happy to share with you. I'll tell you in a moment after I get Laurie's either question or answer. Donc, je vais vous expliquer le rôle d'introduction au mentorat. Laurie, over to you.
I am going to guess
Yes.
that an introductory mentor would be the first mentor you have when you join a Toastmaster club. So someone who's going to kind of introduce you to the club, and maybe the first, like taking roles in the meeting and the first 3 speeches.
Yes, great. So all of you, really great feedback, great suggestions, great ideas on there. And all of those things can be true, This is actually even more simple than that, in that the introduction to mentoring for this specific, when you get into level 3, 4, and 5, is really any informal mentoring that you have. So that could be buddying up with someone prior to a meeting to show them how to do timer for the first time. That could be, I'm going to help you through a speech, versus the more formal mentorship that Monique was talking about, where there's a path for that, there's forms on that. This really is anyone that has experience that other person that they're mentoring may not have yet and is really teaching them or going through that. They just let their VP Ed know, I'm going to help Lori. It's her first time doing timer, and I'm going to buddy up with her so to make sure she knows what she's doing. Donc, l'introduction au mentorat, c'est vraiment aider un autre membre avec quelque chose dont vous avez expérience. Ça peut être aider quelqu'un pour la première fois qu'ils font chronométreur, chronométrice. C'est pas formel avec les formes dont vous allez discuter c'est quoi comme les premiers trois niveaux que quelqu'un va travailler. Ça peut être aider un autre membre avec quelque chose dont vous avez expérience. Et là, vous auriez crédit là-dessus. Does that answer that for folks? Is there any questions in addition? So there is, again, there's the formal piece, and this one really is more informal. Monique.
Okay, sorry. So where is the informal role? Is that listed as a role?
It's listed as a role, yeah. So
it's
when you
listed as a
look,
meeting role as opposed to,
yeah.
okay,
So it's select one of. So in this case, table topics speaker, table topics master, or introductory mentor. So they don't have to do it, but they can choose it as one of the additional roles.
okay.
Donc, c'est une option lorsqu'on vérifie les rôles supplémentaires.
Okay. Another suggestion, Toastmasters International, they should come up with another name because it overlaps with their mentoring program.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what I heard. So you know what? I like the introductory, like, you know, the buddy system, you know, your pal, whatever, your pal at the meeting. That makes a hell of a lot more sense than introductory mentor. Plain language would be really good. I wonder if Toastmasters know anything about that, but that's it. I'm being
What I'll
sarcastic,
do,
but this is a problem, right? Thank you, though.
when I send out the details, I'll send a link too. So any feedback or questions like this where we're looking for enhancements or anything like that, I'll share those links. Donc, pour soit des questions ou autre chose, des recommandations à Toastmasters, lorsque je vous envoie les liens, je vais vous envoyer cela aussi. All right. So then when we get into level 4, you're really continuing to build your skills. Donc, au niveau 4, vous continuez à développer vos compétences. You've got the speaker, of course, again. You have your evaluator on there. You do your Toastmaster of the day as well. In this case, you're now going to learn the general evaluator role. You're going to select one additional role, and it gives you the options on there. And what you'll notice is at this level, one of the role options is a specialized role. So all this is if your club, for instance, does toast of the day, or your club does a joke master, these are really a role that's not specified here, but that could be unique to your club. You're going to deliver another one of the successful club series. And in this role, you're now doing a better speaker series as well. Donc, au niveau 4, il y a l'orateur, encore une fois, l'évaluatrice, un autre animateur de réunion, un Toastmaster. Là, vous allez aussi, vous allez aussi faire un animateur, animatrice générale pour la réunion. vous auriez la chance de choisir un autre rôle. Ici, il y a l'introduction au rôle spécialisé. Donc, si votre club a quelqu'un qui vont faire un blague, disons, ça, c'est un rôle spécialisé. Alors, c'est un rôle que vous avez pour votre club, mais qui n'est pas nommé ici. Vous auriez encore une fois un projet aux séries Club Performant. Et ici, il y a l'introduction au devenir un meilleur orateur. Et finalement, au rôle ou au niveau 5, c'est vraiment de démontrer votre expertise. So when you get to level 5, it really is about demonstrating your expertise. So here you'll have, again, your speaker, 2 evaluators in this case, 2 Toastmasters in this case, the general evaluator again. You select a role, deliver presentation for better speaker series, and in this particular case, we're now building on the leadership series. Donc ici, lorsque vous démontrez votre expertise, il y a un orateur, oratrice, 2 évaluateurs, 2 animateurs ou animatrices de réunion, un autre rôle d'évaluateur général. Choisissez un rôle soit d'évaluateur ou autre chose. Il y a livré un projet du série Devenir un meilleur orateur et excellence de leadership. We talked a little bit about the mentorship, so this really is, again, just a high-level overview. Alors, on a déjà parlé du rôle de mentorat ou l'introduction au mentorat. C'est vraiment d'être là pour aider quelqu'un dans votre club. So it really is about helping someone within your club, and then certainly you can move in, or that can be in tandem with the formal program. Donc, ça peut être aussi avec le rôle qui est plus formel pour le rôle de mentorat aussi. Alors, mais c'est pas besoin d'être un rôle formel. I'm going to stop sharing here and I'll show you about logging the meeting roles on there. Before I log into that, I just wanted to see if there were any other questions before we go and show you that. Donc, avant que je vous montre comment indiquer vos rôles pour la réunion, est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Marg, I think I see your hand.
Yes. My question is, if you belong to more than one club, this adds quite an interesting dynamic on the tracking. And can you use some of your things that you're doing in one club and transfer them to another club?
Great question. So the answer is yes. La question était, si je suis membre de plusieurs clubs, est-ce que je peux utiliser un rôle d'un club pour partager avec un rôle un autre club? Now, the one thing that I will say though, is you can't double dip. And what I mean by that is I can't say that I did Toastmaster in one club and then on all 3 clubs say I did Toastmaster. So if I did Toastmaster, it counts as 1 towards whatever level that I want to count it as. Donc, si je fais le rôle de Toastmaster, disons, si je le fais une fois, ça compte pour une fois. Je ne peux pas la compter pour tous mes clubs. Alors, c'est la même lorsque je fais un discours. Ça compte une fois par discours. When you log it, you're logging it against your actual pathway. And when you finish your pathway, at that point, you have the opportunity to credit whichever club you want. Donc, lorsque vous êtes fini votre parcours, c'est à ce moment-là que vous pouvez choisir à quel club vous voulez attribuer votre parcours. Does that answer your question, Mark?
I believe it answers some of the question.
Okay.
Because I realize once you finish your level, you can choose. But
Yes.
you may not be able to finish it in the Toastmaster calendar year
Right.
because this is something relatively, in my mind, halfway through the year.
Right.
And because of these changes, what goals you set out for at the beginning in May or June may change because of the new requirements mid-year.
Yes. And I think that's what Monique was talking about earlier too.
Yes. So because of the dynamics of this and the complications of the different clubs, it does add quite a few challenges.
It does definitely teach us that additional skill set of really trying to be the master of all and juggling through that. So I appreciate that that can be challenging. The one thing that I will say though is certainly between that July and October period, if you had any of those roles that you completed, you can certainly leverage those. Donc, si vous avez fait des réunions ou des parcours ou des rôles entre juillet et octobre, avant que les changements soient été introduits, vous pouvez les enregistrer pour vous aider à compléter les buts ou les objectifs que vous avez faits en septembre ou en juillet lorsque la nouvelle année a été introduite. It will take some kind of jiggling around though, absolutely, given that it was introduced later in. So I definitely appreciate that. Suzanne.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. I was looking a lot at these different new requirements and also these club series, leadership series, all the documents that are there. I find them rather confusing at this point. It feels like very narrow what you can do then. I'm currently like in a kind of misconception, or maybe not. Do they suggest we read that and summarize it and present that? Or is it just giving an idea and then do whatever you think that fits to that? I feel a little lost about the concept behind these and how to apply it.
That's a great question. Donc, la question est au sujet des séries, soit de parcours d'orateurs ou de clubs, et comment les introduire. So, I've delivered a number of these, and I will say there's no right or wrong answer on this. The series does provide you a guide based on each of the programs. So there's about, I think, 11 or 12 in each of them. Now, you will see that those PowerPoints are editable. So what that means, and what I've done in the past, is leverage them as a framework and then built upon them to build the story that I want to tell. So I might leverage the kind of key pieces on there because those really are tried and true, but then build that as if I was building the presentation on my own to enhance it, to tie it into what I think my members will leverage and will benefit them. And then also something that's going to teach me. So it really is something that you can mold to make your own. Okay. They're really there as a framework. And I would say the spirit of that is if you're doing something, let's use vocal variety, exploring vocal variety. The spirit of that is that the presentation that you're going to deliver really is around vocal variety. Donc, lorsque vous faites l'introduction ou soit si c'est pour les gestions corporelles, etc., c'est vraiment d'utiliser le parcours qui a été présenté de Toastmasters et vous pouvez introduire des idées pour vous-même, pour votre club, qui va vous aider lorsque vous le faites aussi. Does that answer your question, Suzanne? Okay, thank you.
Gives me a better guidance and also to my club because I want to take
Yes.
a lot of the knowledge that I gather from you to our club. Actually, because my other member is also here, I see her. We try to create a speech together to bring that to
Excellent.
our club.
Oh, that's
Thank you
great.
so much.
I love that. My pleasure. Marie-Ève.
I am also a member of 2 clubs,
Mhm.
and my question is, if I because I need to follow pathways. So if I make a speech in one club,
Mhm.
does it count for the other one? Because the other one will kind of I'm gonna have to, because this is exactly what happened this afternoon. I had a meeting and I did a speech following my pathway, and this is done, but the other one won't hear it. Do I have to do 2 pathways? Yeah. How do
No.
we keep track, and how those 2 clubs are going to be able to keep track? Because I have a mentor at my first club,
Mm.
and she said that the way that she will keep track of my pathways are by giving her the evaluation of the other club.
Yes. Yeah. Now, we won't go into that piece today, but there is an evaluation portion that you can get directly in Pathways as well. So we can talk about that more for anybody that wants to drop in on one of the monthly sessions or offline. But what happens is the club technically doesn't get credit until you're closing off the level. So you can do a speech in any club, including clubs that you're not a member of. And it's at the point where you're closing the level that you then get to choose, if you're a member of multiple clubs, which one gets credit. So to your point, what I typically will do, like you, is if I'm doing a speech at one club and I have no intention of repeating it at another club, I'll tell my mentor or my VP Ed that I'm going to be delivering speeches at these clubs so that they're aware of that. And then absolutely you can share the evaluation with them.
Okay.
Donc, si vous faites des parcours à autres clubs ou des discours à autres clubs, c'est vraiment pour indiquer à votre VP d'éducation que vous allez, ou votre mentor, que vous allez faire un parcours, un discours à un autre club. Et c'est lors que vous allez fermer ou que vous allez compléter, disons, votre parcours, votre niveau, soit si c'est niveau 1 ou niveau 2, niveau 3, que vous pouvez choisir à quel club vous voulez l'attribuer. So I misspoke, Marie-Ève. It's at each level that you get to choose, like when you're closing off a level, that you get to choose which club that it is that you want to attribute it to.
That means that, let's say I just finished my level 2, but I am a member of 2 clubs. I have to, there's only one club that's going to
It's
be.
only one club that gets credit for it. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Okay.
So you do have to be a little strategic around that. So for instance, I'm a member of 3 clubs, and what I'll do, my advanced club, most of us are up in levels 3, 4, and 5. So it's really hard to get 1s and 2s in there. So I might save my level 1 for my advanced club because we're going to be hard pressed to do that. Whereas some of my other clubs where we've got newer members, I might give them a level 4 or 5 because we don't have enough members that have moved up the ranks. So yes, you do have to be a little strategic about it. Yeah.
Okay. That means, okay, I did not know that. That means
Yes.
that because, okay, that's annoying. I think it's not fair for because I really like both of these clubs, and I would like both of them to have credits, but
Yeah.
this is okay.
You have to choose. Yeah.
Okay.
Monique, and then Holden, and then I'll do the
I want to
demo.
address Marie-Ève's comment. The real issue is the DCP reports for each club. So if you belong to 2 or 3 clubs, and Rebecca brought it up, so you go to one of your clubs and say, oh, we're not going to make our level 1s. Oh, well, I can do a level 1 speech here. And in my other club, they don't have enough level 3s. So I can go do a level 3 there. So it's all about making sure the clubs you're in, that whenever you do a speech, it helps them meet their DCP goals.
Yeah.
And that's why it's restricted the way it is with the DCP. And I have issues with that because if you have a mature club, they're not going to be doing level 1 and level 2 speeches. They're doing level 3, 4, and 5, and you'll never make the level 1, level 2 unless you get new members. So that's the balance sheet that with that. And to the PowerPoint presentations that I remember this from the old program. Thank you for telling me that you can edit them. And for those of you who are new to this, I got to tell you, nothing annoys me more when I see a quotation from an American. So if you want to, they have a quote about something, find a Canadian that suits your style and what you're doing, and put your own experiences in, opening up a speech. And I'm just looking at beginning your speech. Well, if you are a seasoned Toastmaster with your club, you can also give them your sneaky tips that are not here to add personality to the introduction. So thank you for showing me that it edited, because I had to do some sneaky stuff when I couldn't edit them. So
No, you're good to go there.
yeah.
All right, Holden, and then I'll do the demo on there as well. And I've just dropped for after the evaluation from today. Donc, j'ai mis l'évaluation pour aujourd'hui, pour après aussi dans la boîte de clavardage. Holden, I lost you on the screen. You dropped your hand and there you are. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. So yeah, I've been working in my level 4 visionary communication, and I completed, the requirements as well as the electives. And then when it gets a, pretty basic question perhaps here, but the successful club series and better speaker series options that I have to, or the presentations I have to complete, like, where do I find those in order to get guidance on how to complete them? Because I was looking at them, I'm like, yeah, I can pull something together, but I was expecting a little bit more guidance on this is what you should be focusing on. So can you direct me to where I find that stuff?
Yeah, great question. Donc, la question est où est-ce que je trouve les parcours ou les objectifs pour niveau 3, 4 et 5 pour soit pour le club, pour le leadership et pour orateur. So I'm going to give you the links. That'll be that I'll share that out after. But in the actual levels, there are the pieces in there, so we can go over that too. Or if you're in Toastmasters.org and you just search Better Speaker Series, it will actually pull that up, and you can download the entire series, or the whether it's the club series or all of those, and they're free to you.
Okay, so straight from the Toastmasters website then.
Yeah, you got it.
I just did it tonight.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was lost because I was just like, okay, well, I want to do this, but how do I go about doing it? So that's perfect. That's really why I joined tonight's session. So that's been great.
And it comes in a zip format, zip file.
Okay.
And so open up the zip file. Don't double click it like I did, because all of a sudden I get zip 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's like, duh. You got to click on the file, and it opens up all the files, and it's the instruction on how to give this speech. And then the second bit is the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it. Monique, new hand, old hand?
Oh, shit.
Hand? Okay, no worries. Lucy, yes. And then we'll demo.
Rebecca, my hand doesn't seem to work here, so
that's okay. I see you here. I got you.
Okay, my question is, as VP Ed, I'm VP Ed, can I reject a member that have not completed the meeting roles? I'll tell you why. I have received, I guess, a request to approve all the speeches that he has done. But the meeting roles, they're never been recorded. Maybe he's taken 1 or 2, but it's never been recorded. So I'm surprised that Toastmasters International allow people to forward the request when all the requirements have not been fulfilled.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll spend a couple minutes on that, and then we'll move on just to try to keep on time here. Donc, la question est, si le membre n'a pas accompli les rôles de réunion, comme VP d'éducation, est-ce que vous pouvez la rejeter? The short answer is Yes, similar to an actual path or a level if they didn't complete that. Now, what I would say is I would have a dialogue with the person first to see, I don't know, were they a guest at a club, or, maybe walk them through, because it could be that they did complete it elsewhere, or it could be that they weren't aware that those were, and then get them on your roster. Donc, ma suggestion est de parler aux membres avant de le rejeter pour être certains qu'ils n'ont pas accompli le rôle à une autre réunion et qu'ils sachent ce qu'ils doivent faire pour la réunion.
Well,
But yes,
I want to share with you, there's a lot of members that are not happy with this new whatever. They're really not happy. So even if I speak with them, they said, well, like I finish all my speeches because that was their intention when they came into the club. But
right.
with this new pathway enhancement, people are getting a little bit upset over it because they have to do more work now and, to be recognized. So anyway, that is something I want to share with you about.
Thank you for that. And I will share again, the enhancements came from feedback, so changes can also come from feedback. So I would encourage each of you, good, bad, or indifferent, if you've got feedback, absolutely, you can share that with Toastmasters. And, that's how we continue to progress. Donc, si vous avez des rétroactions ou des suggestions pour Toastmasters, vous pouvez certainement les laisser savoir. So here, where I've logged into is I'm into Basecamp. So everybody's Basecamp's going to look a little bit different depending on your paths. What I will show you, though, is at the top of the Basecamp, there's a couple of things in here. The profile piece is really the piece that I would say you're going to want to look at. I've left these blanks so that I can show you kind of what that looks like and then how to add them, because I have them logged separately. So when you're logging in, if you scroll down, you see all your paths, and then here you see the meeting roles. When you click on this little pencil, donc, si vous allez à votre profil, il y a les rôles de réunion. Et là, vous allez choisir quel rôle. So you have the actual roles on here. So topic master, speech evaluator, counter. So these are above and beyond your actual projects for your path. Donc ici, c'est les rôles vraiment pour la réunion. You pick the role, and then you pick the date, and then you save. So here, I think it was Laurent that was saying it doesn't tie it to a path. Donc ici, ça va pas l'ajouter à mon parcours. C'est une session générale. So these would be kind of placeholders, if you will. So if you've completed all your level 1 roles, or you've completed them all the way through and you want to, I'm going to say, bank them, you can put them here. And then afterwards you'd go back and you'd take a look at where you want to move them to. If you need to get rid of it or you made a mistake, it's simply exit and delete, and it will remove it. It's as simple as that. Donc, vous pouvez ajouter vos rôles de réunion ici. Okay. If I go back and I'm in an actual path, so we'll go into persuasive influence here. And I'm in my level 1. So same thing here. You'll see level 1 checklist for completion. And here's the roles that need to be completed. So if I've done that, it's literally checking these. You'll see there's no date though. Donc, lorsque vous êtes dans votre parcours, à chaque niveau, il y aura des réunions ou des objectifs à accomplir pour chaque niveau. Et vous avez seulement à cocher. Ça n'indique pas la date que vous avez accompli ceci. Alors, c'est important que vous travaillez avec votre VP d'éducation, that dialogue stays open, and people are aware of when you're completing your roles. It is on the honor system, though. It will not block you from submitting your path. So it is important, certainly, if you are familiar, you know that this person hasn't done that, to have those conversations with them. Alors, ça va pas vous bloquer à transférer ou à compléter votre parcours. Alors, c'est important, comme soit VP d'éducation ou membre de club, si vous saviez que la personne n'a pas accompli ses rôles, d'avoir une conversation avec eux et leur montrer ce qui est important pour compléter leur niveau. And then, Holden, when you get into the other levels as well, you'll see the actual checklist on there for the Better Speaker series as well as the resources there. Now, I know we're at 8 o'clock. I'll just take a quick look on the agenda to see if we've missed anything. We talked about the Better Speaker series. I'll share those links with you. And then there's some additional key resources in there as well that I'll share, which talk about the education program FAQs that I shared with you and some other key links. Donc, je vais vous partager les liens pour chacun des parcours ou les rôles de réunion et autres liens qu'on a parlé aujourd'hui. Je sais on est à 8 heures ou 20 heures. I will pause to see if there's any other questions. I know we've covered a lot today, and I appreciate your participation. I'll open it up for any additional questions. Alors, s'il y a autre question. Oui, Marc.
Est-ce qu'il y aurait moyen d'avoir une réunion semblable à celle-ci, là, mais qui s'adresserait davantage aux VP formation pour les aider à gérer la progression des membres? Parce que
oui,
c'est pas simple, c'est pas facile à faire, là.
Donc, une réunion avec les VP de formation et gérer uniquement pour eux et comment progresser les membres.
Oui, ben, par exemple, là, tantôt tu parlais de cocher les membres
Oui.
dans leur parcours doivent cocher les rôles qu'ils ont fait, là. Moi,
Oui.
en tant que VP formation, là, je fais pas de suivi là-dessus là, pour savoir lequel qui a été compteur des hésitations,
OK.
lequel.
Oui.
Fait que là, ça devient impossible pour moi de gérer ça. Là. C'est un aria total et complet. Là. Je peux pas faire
OK.
ça.
OK. Alors oui, certainement, c'est quelque chose que je peux vérifier si soit moi ou au TLI. Ça va être l'année prochaine. Alors, on va faire quelque chose avant cela. Alors, laisse-les avec moi et oui, certainement. Oui.
En tout cas, j'apprécierais si on pouvait vraiment avoir une réunion qui s'adresse au VP formation. Parce que vraiment, là, c'est très difficile à suivre.
Okay.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Oui, bien noté. Avec plaisir. So the question around that was really, could we have something like this for the VP of Education that really helps them dig in further on how to help their members? So I would say, yes, we can definitely look into that. And certainly I put it in the chat box. I'll put it there again, though. The links for upcoming events, which certainly drop into the sessions that are monthly, where we can really answer some of those questions in further detail. Donc, j'ai une session la première lundi de chaque mois aussi. Vous pouvez toujours venir demander les questions là avant qu'on ait une autre réunion. La prochaine session, ça va être lundi, le 2 février, de 19h jusqu'à 20h aussi. J'ai mis le lien dans la boîte de clavardage. Je vais le mettre pour les sessions ici. C'est bilingue uniquement aussi. Very much appreciate the participation.